All right, today we have the new up and comer Caroline Henderson, totally destroying the field. Came on tour just this year.
Hey y'all, I'm Caroline. I have been playing since 2021. At the end of 2021, I went pro, I think, in April of 2022. I quit my job in 2022, and I joined the tour in 2023.
Yeah, that is totally awesome. If I was good enough, I would like to do the same thing. So what made you, I mean, you've answered this question a bunch, but for people that don't know, what made you so into disc golf and so willing to like sell everything, move on tour, get a van and all that?
Yeah, so I think at the time in my life, I was trying to find something that was for me because at the time I was just kind of like doing home life stuff and it just wasn't for me. And my friends had gotten me into disc golf, and I've played sports, so I love practicing. I love watching progress and stuff like that. And I love being competitive, and I'm an extremely competitive person. I did need that in my life, and disc golf was such a fantastic avenue just because it's growing. It's something you can start as a newbie and go pro. Like
Hmm.
you can't really do that like volleyball or, just things
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what got me into it.
Yeah. You mentioned before that you have a softball background. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like that has correlated to your game, to your power, any of that?
Oh, significantly. Like I could hit on both sides, so I
Mm.
already kind of understood how to use my legs on the left-hand side. But forehands are identical to baseball throwing, like the way you would shift
Hmm.
your weight, how you would drive and stuff. And
Yeah.
the snap for me feels a lot like softball pitching. Like I
Mm.
know some baseball players and softball players tend to pronate when they snap, and you get that roll and the wobble. But like
Hmm.
with softball pitching, it's very like straight up and down, like 6-12. And so you don't quite get that roll. So I was able to like translate the two and
Mm.
create that superpower sidearm. However, backhand has taken a while just because it's it's like it's bottom hand throwing. And so I
Mm.
know how to do the legs of left-handed hitting, but like using your bottom hand for your right hand is a little abnormal for me. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of taken a while to figure out.
Yeah. Totally. Why do you think people don't have the same forehand form that you do? Because you generate a lot of power, but I've never seen anyone do it the same way that you do it.
Yeah, I think most people use their arm instead of like their body. So it's like, they'll
Yeah.
just kind of do the snap, which is it's gonna give you a lot. Like it's gonna give you like good flights and clean spins. But I don't think people drive their weight from their back leg into their front leg like I do.
Yeah.
Like even in the top forehand players, I think only one or two of them actually really push into their leg like I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
watching like the LBC rounds, it was just like crazy the amount of power that you could generate from like your
Yeah.
walk up. And it was
Mhm.
just like, yeah, why is nobody else doing this? And it seems
No,
like you have a, sorry.
I just don't think they know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
I think forehand in the FPO division is so new, and I think previous information has talked a lot about snap, and that's a lot of it too. But I think it's like driving into your front leg, and it's just timing it.
Yeah.
Y'all are talking very like detailed stuff here.
She is a pro.
And
Like,
so I'm over here. So I can't keep up with the conversation, but I understand the gist of it.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it. What is the new sponsorship news?
yeah, so I signed a 3-year deal with Prodigy. I can't do super specifics of it, but it's a
Hmm.
great deal. We had at least like 4 or 5 negotiation meetings. I had a couple of lawyers look at my side before we signed anything. Like we were very detailed and specific about what we wanted, and I kind of
Hmm.
did get everything that I wanted.
That's
So
awesome.
they're making it very comfortable for me to like live out on the road and not have a job. So
Yeah.
I think I'll do a nice break even this year.
Yeah.
But I'll get right off the bat, I'll get 2 different Tour Series discs. One of them right now is the X3 in the Spectrum Plastic, and it's about to be released. And the other one, I don't think we have a disc set for it, but it'll be coming out soon.
Sweet.
And
Cool. Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
thank you. I know
Um,
it's so awesome.
like I said, I don't really follow a lot of disc golf stuff, but I just hear like who he talks about and like kind of hear like hearing your story leading up to this interview. I thought it was so cool. And I think it could be like a big inspiration for people who are just getting started, which is a lot of people. I mean, disc golf is huge and growing lately, and I think your story is super cool. And congrats for getting the pro sponsorship and everything. That's awesome. That happened so fast. I feel like, I mean,
Really
I don't know if
fast.
it feels fast to you, but hearing your story, I feel like that all
Oh
happened
no,
really
it
quick.
did. Like I had people knocking on my door like the second round, my second practice round of Las Vegas. It might have been the first one, honestly.
Oh,
Because
wow.
like yeah, it was Prodigy and Innova were on the car or the hole in front of me, and they were doing some filming thing,
Hmm.
and I was just throwing my practice throws because it was a little slow, being behind them, which is okay. And the guy was like, "Hey, you bomb forehands. It's like we should talk after this." And then after the first round that I did so well, it was like Lone Star, and then they all just came in after that.
Wow.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you are definitely like one of the most elite players in FPO right now. So like,
thank you. Yeah, I just need some time to clean things up and get putting under
oh,
control. We'll be good to go.
yeah, I was going to ask. So you mentioned in previous interviews, you're mainly practicing your distance shots, your up shots, and less so putting. Has that changed like recently?
Uh, I practice mostly putting at
Oh,
this
you do?
point.
Okay.
Like, yeah, even in the
Nice.
off season, I would practice. I would spend like an hour and a half. Well, to be fair, in the off season, my putting form was different, so I was
Hmm.
practicing an hour and a half my old putting form. But nowadays, I'll spend like an hour working just with the basket, and then I'll go play my round. And if things still felt weird, I'd go putt again.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, putting is, it's the make or break. So, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, I think just because everything else has come so quickly, I think putting is coming at a normal pace just because there isn't a sport that's putting. Putting's it's like its
Yeah.
own thing. And so I think that's why that's normal. So it
Yeah.
is a little hard to, throw really good rounds and then like putt that way. That's
Yeah.
okay. I think it's all in the plan.
Yeah. I had a terrible putter. I've been practicing like a decent amount, and it already has like huge changes in my tournament rounds. But it's
Mm-hmm.
hilarious because I'll have like not like 100% circle one, but like maybe 80%, which is really good for my division. And then my drives will just be terrible. So it won't even matter.
Like I'm not even giving my shield a chance to putt.
Yeah.
Do you use the same putter and you have it in multiple forms, or do you have multiple different kinds of putters and you practice with all of them, or do you focus on like knowing one disc really well? Does that question make sense?
Yes. Like for putting, like actual just putting, I use the same putters. Like I use like a PA5. I have like a stack of like 6 that I have, but I do have other throwing putters. Like I'll putt with PA5s. I'll throw PA3s, the P model US, and I think that's it. Am I missing one? Oh, PA4. I throw a PA4 for my flippy
Hmm.
putter. PA5s are a little bit too flippy. They turn too
Yeah.
much.
So your current bag is mostly Prodigy. Like I know you have 3 months to fully adopt it, but it's already mostly Prodigy.
It's mostly Prodigy. And speaking of like my putters and throwers, my putters and approaches and my fairways. Half of my drivers are Prodigy, but the other half still my nukes. And then
Yeah.
I'm still working in my mid ranges. Up here in North Carolina, I haven't really touched my buzz or my truss. Like I've been throwing
Hmm.
like the Strider and the M4. But like when I go back home to Texas, those are too flippy. So I got to find a stable trust in like a
Hmm.
Prodigy disc.
Yeah. Do you feel like I know you haven't had a tournament, or have you played your last tournament with the Prodigy contract, or was that after?
Yeah, my first this past tournament in Tennessee, I think. Yeah, it
Yeah.
Nashville?
was
Nashville.
yeah, Nashville. Yeah, that was my first tournament like wearing Prodigy.
Okay. Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
feel
we
like,
barely got our shirts in time. Like it was like no, I didn't even get my shirts in time. I had to buy a shirt and then like heat stamp it on there real quick and then wear
oh
it
no.
for Friday. I know. And then I got my shirt in after the round on Friday.
Wow.
You do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, I can't just be showing up here with nothing on.
Yeah. So do you feel like with that first event as a signed player, is there more stress, or were you kind of just like, yeah, it's the same thing as like
It's the
LVC?
same. No,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. They've been really cool. But
Mm.
they're very, they understand like my development and where I'm at. Like they didn't put any weird pressure on me or anything like that. I
That's
mean, I
good.
could put the pressure on myself because like
Yeah.
I have like structures of like if I meet certain areas in my game, like whether it's media or performance, I'll get like a raise. So I
Yeah.
could add pressure to myself there, but I'm not going to because I don't need to
Yeah.
do that. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make
It's not
sense.
worth it.
No,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
So with the first major coming up, do you feel any stress about that? Are you also kind of thinking like, oh, whatever, it's like my first one, who cares?
No, I actually couldn't get into it.
Oh
So
no, I was.
I know I was really, well, I could, but like they have those Monday qualifiers, but like this course is really hard and it's still like a
Mm,
rated round, and like I don't, like I would have to go straight from here on Sunday to Georgia, which is not a easy drive, and then I would just
yeah,
have to wake up and go play it. Like I would be completely blind, and I just don't think that's the intelligent move. So I'm just gonna take it as a break, and I kind
yeah.
of wanted a break. Like I'm gonna go play the course, but I'm gonna practice, play the course, and I think we're gonna go watch Savannah Bananas, which is like entertainment baseball. It's only two
Oh,
hours
okay.
long. Yeah, so we're gonna go out to Savannah and do that while we're in Georgia.
Nice.
Fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you and Kevin will be forced to miss Masters Cup.
I
Uh,
know, isn't that wild? Like for me, it
yeah,
makes sense because I was still pretty low rated, but him, like he's established. I think that's a little weird.
yeah. I still just feel like they might change the ruling, but who knows? You weren't like a pro softball player before, right?
No,
No.
mm-mm,
Okay.
no.
But yeah, just
Yeah.
being elite level athlete, do you feel like you have more experience with like not working your body too much, not getting injuries? Because I feel like we get like your power forehand and all that. It
Mhm.
seems like it'd be easy to injure yourself, but I'm sure you have experience with throwing a ton. So do you feel like you have less injuries than other players?
Right off. So it's so hard to say yes to that because I've like gone through my fair share of injuries. Like part of it was like there was a time when I was practicing where I was not moving around as much, and so I lost some
Hmm.
like mobility in like some like my shoulder and my hips, and that's when I got injured. So I think
Hmm.
what helps with like being an athlete is reading your body and like making sure it never gets to that point.
Yeah.
So, and or knowing how to fix it, knowing how to, rebuild your mobility and your strength in those like weaker areas.
My husband, like when we play together, I feel like he does really well. And then I feel like when he goes to tournaments, it doesn't really translate. And I think it's because he just, no offense, I love you so much, doesn't handle like the stress. Like he puts pressure on himself. And I feel like he doesn't handle that well.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I have a couple questions. Like, do you feel like being in the pro series is putting more pressure on you? Like, do you feel it? And I guess other side of my question is, do you think being an athlete before switching over to disc golf specifically helped you like know how to manage all of that stress kind of already?
Um, since I came from like a team sport background, I don't think managing that stress, it's just different because it's like I like if you mess up, it's like on me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I think it's a little bit harder to not it's a little bit harder to not beat yourself up super bad just because it's
Yeah.
always on you. Like it's that part is that's actually the part I struggle with the most is like being able
Hmm.
to handle that part, and my putting's kind of the same way. Like I'll go out to practice rounds and I'll make putts from everywhere. And then I get into the tournaments and like 20 footers are terrifying. Like
Oh yeah.
I think it's just turning off the brain and then just staying confident, which is way easier said than done.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
At least
think
for
those
me,
things
I'm sorry.
figure that out. hmm
I
I've
know that
read
like,
books and stuff that have helped with that
oh yeah.
mental stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely for me, having a huge amount of reps really helps my putting because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, just follow this routine, do the same thing,
Yeah.
do what you always do.
Mhm.
But um,
Yeah, I think ultimately it's just like developing trust. So it's like I have plenty of trust in like my backhand throwing, my forehand throwing, and all my upshots and stuff like that. I think just because it's just because they don't give you time to think. But when you walk up to your putt, like you're just like everything's slow and everyone's quiet, nobody's moving. Like that,
hmm.
I think that's harder than just picking up a disc and just chunking it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like, I mean, this weekend you beat Paige Pierce, which is pretty sick. Do you feel like if you're on a card with, I don't think, have you played with Paige yet on a card?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Hey, do you feel like playing with her or Kristin? Is that any more stress than a normal round? Or do you try to
Oh,
just not think about it?
I so like Waco round one was that way. Like I got on feature card and it was like Kristin, Paige, and then Lucky. Like Lucky, I've played with her, you know, she's that didn't quite bother me, but like being next to Kristin, it was a little, it wasn't like a starstruck thing, but it was hard because you had like 12 cameras on you, you had like 80
Mhm.
people looking at you, and then you're with two of the top players in the world. So it was, for me, it was just hard to focus. Like I wasn't intimidated. I was super excited, but
Yeah.
it was just more of a focus thing. It was hard to like stay tunneled in. It was just
Yeah.
really hard to absorb the moment.
Do you
Well,
feel, oh,
I'm sorry, just like a little clarifying question. So like the less but I don't know how to phrase this without like sounding insulting to people, but so like depending on your ranking, you have more or less cameras and people following you. Is that what you're saying? And it
sort of.
could be distracting.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like when the cameras start like getting up on you, you're like, I gotta play well because now
Yeah.
this is being recorded. But so
Yeah.
it does, I think you shouldn't let it put pressure on you, but I have felt a little bit of pressure when the cameras start following you. Like even if you're not
Hmm.
on like a feature card or a chase card, like there's like two cards or three cards back that if you're doing well, they'll send people over to you. Like if you're
Yeah.
on the and that happened to me in Vegas, and it put me, it
Hmm.
like cooled off my hot streak. I was like, y'all go away. I was like, I don't want you here. So like
Yeah, they even
round
mentioned it.
was like that. Like I was like the third card out, and at that point I was like, no, it's just me in the course, like I want it to be. And then I shot -5, you know, instead of like
Yeah.
+9 in the first round.
Yeah, I know a similar thing happened with Evelina. She was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if she was like 10 under, but she was just destroying. And then they're like, yeah, get the cameras on her. And then she immediately like doubles, bogey double. And it's like, well,
Right.
you didn't have to do that.
I know, but
And do you guys have pets?
yeah, we got two. It's you might be able to, Jackson Ollie.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
cute. So when you say we, like, do you know who she's talking about?
Oh, my
Or
husband. Sorry, I just insinuate everyone knows.
oh, see, I feel like I should know. He's talked a lot about you, but he mostly talks like specifically to like your journey in disc golf. So I didn't know. Okay, good for you guys. Does he still work too, or does he?
Yeah, he works remotely, so he can do it anywhere. Like today, like he drove me to the course and he worked in the parking lot while I did my rounds because we only have one car, so
yeah.
Mm,
keeps me being stranded.
yeah, nice. It's really nice to have like a supportive partner who is allowing, like, just affording you the opportunity to like pursue your dream while being able to
Oh yeah,
do stuff for themselves too. That's nice.
oh yeah. That was like the biggest reason I was able to get on tour was because I was able to quit my job and he was able to support me while we did all that.
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah,
like
That's
adults
awesome.
when we made this decision. Like we had a house, we both had jobs, and he actually had an extra job just because he wanted an extra job. So
Oh boy.
you know, we didn't just jump out of high school and do it. Like we made sure we were ready in all
yeah,
Yeah.
kinds of ways.
yeah. Those are big decisions to make, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it sounds awesome. I think it sounds fun and
It is.
adventurous and brave. It takes a lot
Yeah,
of spirit and to do that. And I think it's great that you guys can do it together.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
That's what I always say too.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you've been working hard on your channel. Is that
Yeah.
a ton of work or what kind of balance do you
Oh,
have here?
so fortunately, I work with GK Pro, and so it's basically
Okay.
contracting through them. And so like they'll do the recording, like they have all the cameras and stuff. So you know, I'll be there to do all the recording, but Isaac will do all my editing and stuff like that. So like I don't even have to
Okay,
touch
cool.
it. He sends me my
Nice.
YouTube shorts, he sends me my Instagram shorts. Um he even like, I mean, he pretty much manages my entire YouTube,
That's awesome.
which is nice
Nice.
because I can handle the Instagram. I've been doing that for a long time, but I don't have time to edit. Like
Yeah.
that takes a really long time.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
I'm
what,
fully
yeah,
aware.
he posted like every single day in December and he posted every single day in March and he posts like a few times a week, like when he's not doing the every month kind of every day a
Yeah.
month kind of thing. And literally like I'll get home from work at like 7 p.m. We'll like eat dinner, spend like an hour or two together, and then he goes straight back to his YouTube editing and yeah, he works
Yeah, it takes
a
a lot.
lot, a lot.
It's like
So yeah, what was your first thoughts when you saw my video you get like an ego boost, or what was your first reaction?
Oh, are you talking about the one that was like about Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas.
Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's interested in me. Because I mean, like that came out that came out quickly after Vegas, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
No, I just thought it was nuts that it was already like people had already like taken so much notice. It's
yeah.
like, I mean, my Instagram grew like a whole bunch after that tournament, and then your YouTube thing came out, and who else? I think there was like another person who, like 3 people reached out to me for like podcast stuff. I
Oh
thought it
yeah.
was really cool.
Were you
Yeah.
on Ultiworld after Vegas? I forget.
No,
Not
they
yet.
reached out to me, but then I forgot to fill out the paperwork.
Oh.
That was the busiest time of my disc golf life was after
Yeah.
Vegas. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, people were like messaging me both Facebook and Instagram. Like, it's like, I can't do this. I'm in the car, like, like tears. It's like, I'm trying
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's why I was like, let's make sure to like give you a couple weeks. Like,
No,
I'm
I
sure you have so much
appreciate it.
things going on. Basically, 10th place finishes. Would you say you're happy with that? Would you want to improve? Do you feel like Music City Open 23rd? Do you feel like you're good at that place, or are you like really, really striving to get like podium finish or top 5, top 10?
Yeah, I'm not mad about it because I'm doing better than I should be. So it's like I can't put too much on myself, but
Yeah.
I am trying to. My goal is to stay in the top 20 on all these tournaments. I don't think I did that this last tournament, but I think once a couple things like start, once my putts start hitting, like even like my 20 footers, like I probably miss
Yeah.
like 6 20 footers a tournament, and so just that alone will put me up in the top 15.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, I don't expect to win. Like, I don't expect to be top 5 at all this year. Like, I would be happy to be back in the top 10, but I don't like being out of the top 20. Like, that bothers
Yeah.
me.
And do you really look at ratings at all?
I'm aware of them. Like, I'll check like after a round, like how it rates. Honestly, it's kind of interesting, like how ratings will change when it's like rainy versus windy. It turns out windy is like has more effect on ratings than the rain does, I swear. It's
Really?
like I think the last round, I had a better round, but it was the same rating as round 1, which was like windy and rainy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've had rounds like that. So
yeah.
frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah, looking at your ratings right now, August you were 867, and
Yeah.
then the latest ratings update you were 931. That is
I
just
know, isn't that
insane.
nuts?
Yeah.
I think once it starts hitting like the 945 to the 955 mark, it's going to start to plateau a little bit. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
about where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I just need some of those really old rounds to drop off. Like, even in August, like it was like 867, but like I was not an 867 rated player. It's just like when you're in those like A tier and below tournaments, they just don't rate well. Like, for example, I played a B tier in January in Waco, and they had us men's tees, men's pars. And so our rating, we were rated against the MA1 men. So if some MA1 dude, pops off, like our rating tanks. So it was really,
that's lame.
and that's just kind of how they do it. It's just easier for them, I guess. I think it's a little lazy, but I think it's easier for them to do that. So it's really hard to get a good rating. Plus the fields are so small. Like, I'll play with like 4 women, so it's hard to get a good gauge.
Just on the topic of gender, do you feel like so far your experience with the FPO layouts, do you feel like they've got, or I mean, you don't know what the previous layouts were, but do you feel like they're mostly fair to you, or do you think there's room for improvement there?
Yeah, so Vegas wasn't the most, it just wasn't, that one's a men's course, like that wasn't the most fun course to play. Like, I don't think there should be like 3 or 4 equal opportunities on a course. I think that's super ridiculous. And I don't think that you should be able to throw like all the way to like 40 feet to the pin and you get like a birdie, that just doesn't make sense. But like this past tournament, Music City was amazing. Like, I didn't have any complaints about it. Like, I thought it played fair to distance throwers. I thought it played fair to non-distance throwers, because the non-distance throwers, all they had to do was play clean, right? Us, like, we could really attack the course, like the ones who have distance. Houston, I didn't quite like I thought, like, it almost felt like a punish for being like having distance. Waco I thought's fair, but most of them have been that way.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think people are, especially the women, are really hammering these course designers to like give us good courses because it's boring to watch, women on men's courses. Like it's just, if we want people to watch, then we need women's courses, and that was totally Music City.
Yeah.
And that's actually, this tournament will be the same way. This little silver series up here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I've only seen it in the collegiate layout, but yeah, I'm excited to see it this weekend.
It's beautiful. But, gorgeous.
Do you feel like you tend to play better in silver series, or you kind of feel like the same either way?
It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
All the same.
Yeah. Me as just like a intermediate scrub. I played DDO last year, and I was just so nervous the entire time because it felt like a major, or not like a major, but like a pro event, even though it was NA2.
I don't blame you. I played a silver series last year. It was, golly, what was it? Oh, Mid-America Open.
Oh,
and I was like, it was my first elite-ish somewhat tournament, and I was shaking. I mean, physically, my knees were shaking, my hands were shaking, and not like I get on the tee-pad. My heart will race a little bit, but I'm not physically shaking. However, round one at Waco, I was physically shaking. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'd just fall over. I'd be so nervous.
It's a little uncomfortable.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you so much for reaching out. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks again. Like seriously, he's been talking about you in this interview so much. He's been so excited. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Absolutely. Let me know if you need anything else.
Yeah, and keep sharing. I really think your story is inspiring, and I think it's super cool.